Hello crafty friends and welcome to day one of Die Cut December 2024. Today I'll be using these dies to create a card for you, and as it's the start of the series I thought a welcome card would be appropriate. So I'm going to make a welcome baby card based on this sketch that I created. Feel free to take a screenshot if you'd like to keep a copy. To begin, I die cut a circle from smooth white card. This is going to become a pram or a stroller, depending on what you call it where you come from. To turn it into a pram shape, I took a square die and washi taped it down to the circle, so that when I run it through my die cutting machine, it would cut out just over a quarter of the circle. You can obviously cut as much or as little as you like from the circle to alter the proportions of the pram. Once I was done with that, I coloured my pram with cracked pistachio distress oxide and a finger dauber. I chose green as I think it's a good colour for baby cards. It's different to pink and blue and is gender neutral. To create a sense of dimension, I used a darker green finger dauber and added a blush of it around the base and back of the pram. I think this is probably pine needles. For the wheels of my pram, I chose some gold foiled card sequins that I'd made using this die. You could also use plain circles or something fun like buttons. Before gluing down the wheels though, I jazzed up my pram a little using a Zig two-way glue pen to add some dots of glue along the edges of the opening in the pram. I then sprinkled on some gold biodegradable glitter and set it aside to dry. In the sketch, I put some splatters behind my pram because I like to give my die cut something to sit on a lot of the time. So I masked off most of the card to keep it clean and then spattered on some gold metallic paint from my Prima Metallic Accents palette. I dried those splatters with my hairdryer and then used tape runner to adhere the card panel to a card blank. For my sentiment, I used a welcome baby stamp in a simple block capital font. After die cutting a stitched rectangle to stamp on, I placed the bit that I'd cut it from into my stamp positioner to act as a jig. I then lined up the stamp exactly where I wanted it within the aperture and then picked it up with the stamp positioner door. Next, I put the stitched rectangle back into the jig and inked up the stamp with black ink. I did think about heat embossing it in gold, but decided on black because I felt it would pop more. Once my stamping was dry, I shortened the die cut a bit by shuffling it along the die, locking the teeth of the die in the stitching on the die cut, and then running it through my die cutting machine, and that gave me the perfect size rectangle sentiment piece. And then it was time to assemble the card. To stick the pram down, I just smeared high-tack PVA glue or school glue on the back and positioned it over the splatters as per the sketch. I think having it in the bottom left corner gives it room to breathe as the opening of the pram is facing up and to the right. The baby in the pram will be looking upwards and seeing all that lovely white space. I hope that makes sense. To adhere the wheels, I put a little bit of PVA on my glass mat and dipped my sequins into it before placing them on the bottom of the pram. I did pop a thin piece of foam behind my sentiment to give it a little lift and to add some extra interest to the card. It's always nice to have a few layers. And that was the card done. But in case green and gold isn't your thing, I made a few other prams to give you some extra ideas. First up, I coloured a pram with scattered straw and then used a stitched rectangle die to cut out the segment. This die has stitching either side of the main cut line, so it left a row of stitching around the edge of the opening in my pram, and I think that adds a lovely little bit of texture. But As I was making it though, I decided this pram looked a little bit too much like Pac-Man, so maybe avoid yellow. For the wheels on this one though, I added black glitter card circles because again, I thought the black would really pop. To colour my next pram, I used tumbled glass and used a stencil to add some salty ocean stars and a finger dauber to add some salty ocean shading. I decided on silver glitter circle wheels as I like using silver and stars together. I just think they go well. For my third pram, I used spun sugar to colour the circle, and then I stenciled on some tiny hearts in saltwater taffy. For the wheels, I used pale gold glitter card, and I think this has a lovely delicate feel to it. Finally, I created a bit of a vintagey pram by colouring my circle with Victorian Velvet Distress Oxide and then heat embossing on it with a swirly pattern stamp and rose gold embossing powder. To add a little bit of shading, I used my finger sponge dauber with vintage photo on it. And to finish it off, I gave it some copper glitter card wheels. And I love the way this one turned out. It's really oldie worldy, I think. And that's it. Day 1 of Die Cut December done and dusted. I do hope you'll join me for the rest of the month, and I hope this video has given you an idea or two of things you can do with the dies that you have in your stash. If it has, please do leave a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments, subscribe, ring the notification bell, all those good things, and I will see you back here very soon, actually tomorrow, for day 2 of Die Cut December 2024. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.